supporting you in your dog parenting journey. The Dynamic Dog Owner with Debbie Potter.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Dynamic Dog Owner, the podcast designed to support you, the dog parent, in your dog parenting journey. You will know that we talk about everything. No topic taboo. We talk about all different things.
No stone is left unturned.
All designed to help you as a dog parent. We don't talk too much about training. It's more about life with a dog, isn't it? And today we're going to talk about a topic that doesn't really get talked about much because it's a little bit
sensitive.
That's a good word, sensitive. The decision to rehome your dog. Because it's often something that is left a little bit like unsaid. No one wants to talk about it.
Until it happens.
And then people feel really terrible if they do make that decision or even consider that decision. But sometimes it's the right decision for you, for your dog, for the situation. So that's what we're going to kind of touch on today. And I think partly because, no one likes to think of it, but sometimes it is a topic we have to talk about with people from various different points of view. Sometimes people have to choose to rehome their dog through marriage breakdowns, change of circumstances, financial situations. We've both talked about it in the past where we have very loosely considered it. But it is I
joke about it weekly.
My kids have a joke that every time we go to Norfolk, we pass a RSPCA rehoming centre, and I always joke about it and get my husband to indicate to say we're going to drop off Fred. I mean, why Fred gets picked on so much? They never would. They adore him, but they do joke that he's their least favourite. I'm like, you're so horrible to him. Anyway, but obviously, joking aside, it is a topic that needs discussion. It is a topic that we have to talk through because sometimes it's the decision that has to be made. So why? Let's talk about why. Why do people decide to rehome their dogs? Various reasons,
well, you've touched on one, finances. And I think, let's be honest, I think we can all relate to the last few years, the cost of everything living-wise has gone up.
Totally gone up.
Drastically. And
sometimes beyond anything you want to do, sometimes you're faced with a situation, say you're made redundant, and, obviously if you have to pick between feeding your children and your dog. Well, my kids don't listen. I can get away with this. But you have to sometimes make a hard decision.
Family bereavement,
totally. A hard thing if you are left then looking after a dog that wasn't necessarily yours. I know obviously we talk about family dogs, but sometimes they are a family member's dog.
And you may not be able to take that dog on because you have a dog that wouldn't cope with it.
Exactly.
So many different factors.
Physical factors. Abilities.
But then physical abilities is absolutely a reason why something may, crop up in the future that you can't.
Definitely. You can no longer walk your dog or exercise them. You've also got, if you rent accommodation and not own.
Which is becoming far more common these days.
Totally. Then, trying to find somewhere, if you have, say, for example, I don't know, your landlord sells the house, you're then evicted effectively, or given notice, that's the term, not evicted. You're given notice. Trying to find rental properties that would let you have a dog is not always easy, especially if you have more than one dog. Sometimes, beyond finances, you've got dogs that don't get on.
Yeah.
We see it often that people will have two dogs and one dog doesn't get on with the other dog. Really, really hard decision to make, but sometimes it's better obviously to rehome. You've got, what other situations could you rehome? Allergies. Some people are allergic to the dogs and don't realise it.
I had a dream ages ago that me and John had a child and it was allergic to dogs. And obviously I'm not condoning this. I shut it in a room. And so that
good job it was a dream, not real.
It was a dream, I should clarify. But yeah, joking aside, you have got, that obviously can be a key factor for people.
Sorry.
No, go on.
I was going to say, sometimes, dogs can develop behavioural challenges over time that mean that their needs don't meet your lifestyle and what you can give to them. You know, for example, reactive dogs, resource guarding dogs, if it is severe.
Elderly dogs who become in pain, lose senses.
Exactly. You've got dogs that, you know, you get a puppy, you have them for so long, and then as they're growing, developing, you realise that you're not compatible.
And that could happen within the first week of you bringing them home. That could happen within the first month, 6 months, year.
Yeah, you could
however
always
long.
think, will they grow out of this? And they don't. Sometimes, obviously, you know, if you have a wider family bereavement and you take on a family member's dog, because that's kind of like part and parcel in my house. It's always a thing of, well, you're getting the dog.
Well,
what if it doesn't work out?
John's mum recently adopted a dog from Cyprus, beautiful little Springer. And I have to say the charity have been fabulous, because Jill obviously explained all of the setup between us and our dogs. So Jill, I'll take her name out. So my mother-in-law got a rescue dog about 4 months ago, lovely little Springer. And I have to say the charity there have been amazing, because she obviously explained all the setup between sort of her. She does a lot for us with our dogs, and obviously in return would expect support, which is completely fair, you know, a bit like you and your mum, obviously. And the charity wanted to speak to us before they would rehome the dog to my mother-in-law, to make sure that, I suppose what she was telling was the truth, that she had a support network, and the charity's in Cyprus, so obviously they were, you know, also looking at bringing the dog over. She's a lovely little Springer Spaniel. And also getting to a certain age that if she were to go into hospital or anything to happen, that there would be a plan in place that the dog would have a home should it need to at some point in its life, of which we've signed up to and said yes, absolutely she would do. And, you know, I think be it charities, be it breeders, going off on I suppose related, but I think a good charity, a good breeder should always have that contingency of if something were to happen,
circumstances change,
the dog can come back here and they would either take on or look at the rehoming, or is there that support network in place that
and
should
equally
something happen,
making sure the right people get the right dog, because I think that's a lot of rehoming can come from just a misalignment, a mismatch. That's a nice word, a mismatch.
Yeah. And you know, I think this is where so many things are interlinked, and obviously it depends on the circumstances for rehome, because we've both had rescue rehome dogs, whatever you want to call it. So my Rufus, my first dog, was put into a rehoming centre at, I think he was about 10 months old. And he was put in because he had been involved with an incident with a child in the house, and they went, no, dog's got to go. And when you delve into it, actually there was far more behind the scenes, and it wasn't his fault at all. But anyway, it was the best circumstance for him and for us. Obviously the interim of being in those kennels had a lasting effect on the dog he turned out to be. And this is where, you know, kennels, rescues do fantastic jobs, and do not get me wrong, but I think, you know, where private rehomes can occur, they are far more beneficial in my experience for the dog's stress point of view. Coco, then my middle dog now, we're her third home. We were her third home at 1.5. No fault of her own. Her breeders couldn't keep her for various reasons. She then went to, I actually got her from a friend, and she was well loved, well cared for. You know, it wasn't anything like that, but it was exactly that. It was a mismatch of the environment didn't suit her. She's very much a one-on-one dog, and there were multiple dogs in the household because of the jobs and the lifestyle that they lead. And it was too much for her. The environment she lived in was on the edge of the woods, and it meant that she had a great time. She used to go exploring for half a day at a time, and then rock back up home for dinner and sit outside the front door to be fed. But it wasn't the match, you know. Whereas we got her at 1.5, and as a 2-week trial,
we knew she wasn't going anywhere after the first hour. What do you mean?
But it took those 3 homes for her to find the home that was right for her, and it's a case of where rehoming in both scenarios was a positive thing in the long run.
And there are so many different reasons. You know, sometimes your dog doesn't get on with your kids. Sometimes your kids doesn't get on with your dog. Sometimes there's a whatever, we talked to a few of them. There are so many reasons why it just doesn't work out between you and that dog. And I think a lot of people see rehoming as a failure.
Yeah, and I think there's still a lot of judgment passed to people that rehome. I think sometimes, obviously not in all
Depends
cases,
on the individual circumstance, but yeah.
Sometimes there's a lot of judgment that person or family put upon themselves for doing it. Sometimes you have judgment put on you by other people, and obviously you'd like to think that people who know you would know that you're doing it for the right reasons. But anyway, again, different
often
subject.
Rehoming is a better choice for the dog's lifestyle, the dog's welfare. Not that they'll be mistreated in the home they're in, but it's just not the right home for them to flourish and be who they want to be.
Completely.
And for the people's stress level too.
And I think it takes a big person to recognise, and because again, I'm not going to name names, but obviously having a chat with the friend that I got Coco from, they were very emotional about doing it. They wanted it to work. They loved her. They still see her because they're my friend, obviously. They recognised it was the best thing that they did for her. At the time, was it hard? Massively. They didn't want to necessarily, but they recognised that environment, through no fault of their own, was just not the right environment for her to be the best version of herself and get what she needed. And it takes a big person to recognise that and act upon that, because it takes I think it's a very selfless act to rehome in a lot of cases.
Because often we look at our own emotions.
Yeah, and sometimes that stops us doing what is best for that dog. And I think, as I say, I really commend people that rehome, because it's very rarely is it a decision that has come about overnight.
It eats away at people. I've worked with clients that have ended up rehoming, and I've seen the turmoil that they've gone through. And the effort they've gone to before that decision is made to try and fix something. Yeah. But realising sometimes that isn't the right way. Yeah. And it isn't the right outcome. So it is the best thing. Completely. So for me, in the majority of cases, I applaud people that choose to rehome, because it takes a big person to come to that decision and recognise that it's the right thing to do, because it is in no way an easy thing for people to do whatsoever. No, absolutely not. And we've had so many people, we're not obviously going to mention individual people because we wouldn't do that, but we've had people who have rescued from abroad and it's not been the right dog for their family set up with children, and then they've gone on to have a puppy and it's been perfect. We've had people that have had puppies and gone, this is not what I expected. Or, in that first couple of weeks of having the puppy, they've had a massive life change and gone, wow, my life is now going to be very different in the next couple of months. I can't give that puppy. I don't have the time I thought I had to commit to it. Better to rehome and try again in a few years' time. And I have full respect for people who do that. Than to plug on. We see it from multiple different points of view, and it's never... Actually, the people who actually come to us and ask for our opinions or will work with us and then make that decision, it's come from a place of love and care for the dog rather than a point of neglect for the dog, if you know what I mean. And I will always have a proper conversation with someone. As I say, I've had a client, number of clients who have, and I will always have a conversation with them. I will never give my emotional opinion on what someone should do, because I'm not living that situation, therefore I can't. However, I will always listen. I will always answer any reasoned questions that they have based upon the facts that they have given me. And I will support them in whatever they believe the best thing to do is. And equally, you've got some people who consider it and go, absolutely not. I've taken on this dog and we are going to stick back at it. Again, commend them for doing so, but sometimes it can really negatively affect their life. We've had clients who say my dogs can't be in the same room together. Yeah. One dog has to be in one room. They can never be together. They always have to have two stairgates between them because they don't get on. That's a tough life to live. Oh, God, yeah. And if you're prepared to give that level of commitment, amazing. I mean, do. Obviously, again, if you listen to the podcast before, you know that Sherbet and Fred, my mum's dog and my youngest dog, don't always get on because they're so similar. We've had to work through it. 99 touchwood % of the time, they're all right, but they can have an argument every now and again. it's never terrible. But at one point I was like, geez, this is going to be tough if this is going to carry on forever. They've worked their way through it. We've stuck at it. They only see each other 2 days a week. So it's manageable. But having that every day, that would, to a more significant level, that would be tough. That would be hard work. So you've got, obviously, sometimes you could go, it would be better quality of life if they rehome them. Who knows? You never know. You never know what would be, it's always the grass is always greener, isn't it? You never quite know. But equally, it's commendable to keep them and have that level of commitment. If you've got a resource guarding dog, if you've got a dog who doesn't like certain people, or, doesn't get on with other dogs in the home. But equally, deciding you can't do it is not a failure. It is putting the dog first.
It is. And I think, one thing I would add, and, don't get me wrong, most people absolutely do this, is you can have bad days and go, I don't think I can do this.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily wait to see what happens as such, but equally don't let a bad day go, oh God. So for example, the first day I brought Barney home, Murph had a pop at him. Completely my fault. So Murph had a pop at him. He ran and hid in a whole bunch of stinging nettles in the garden, wouldn't come near me. And I thought, oh, Jesus Christ, we've been home for less than half an hour. What have I done?
Yep.
Because I expected Murph and Barney to get on from the minute they met. Unrealistic expectations.
Totally, yeah.
It's not a topic for now, but I did lots of management with Murphy and Barney for the first 3 months. And now they've got a beautiful relationship. Do they have their moments? Yes, because we all do.
Is that not actually on impulse?
Hard work. And that first incident, that first day, I did have that moment of going, oh my God, have I done the right thing here? And that's uneasiness stuck with me for probably the first month of going,
fair.
If I have to manage them, because I had Barney on a house line to manage the interactions, if I have to do this forever, can I do it?
Yep.
Was it forever? No, they get on beautifully now, as I say. But in that moment, it felt hard and it felt overwhelming. And luckily, I had people that I could talk to.
Yeah.
We spoke about it. I spoke to friends about it. And
I had the same problem with Fred and Dave. Dave welcomed Rem as a puppy beautifully. Fred was like, don't look at me.
Which was a real surprise.
Huge surprise. Dave loves other dogs. He loves puppies. He loves them too much. He hated Fred. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? It took them 3 weeks. They have the best relationship ever now. But it's really easy to feel very emotionally driven in a moment when something first happens. Obviously, if your dog has an incident with another dog in your house, if they have an incident with you, if you've not had them very long and you're tired, if things take you by surprise, if your stress levels are high, it's so easy to act on impulse.
And we're here for those moments.
Oh, totally, yeah.
And that's where, be it us, be it a friend, be it family, talk to someone about that, because 9 times out of 10, it will pass.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10. But occasionally, it won't for whatever reason. But weighing it up rationally and going, right, why is it occurring?
Yeah.
Is it going to carry on?
Yeah.
What can I do? Are there steps can I put in place? Are there not? And weighing it up is super beneficial.
Totally. And every now and again, when, again, my mum won't mind me telling you, I'm sure. But if Sherbet and Fred have a little to do, every time she's like, that blimmin' dog, he's going, I'm getting rid of him. I'm like, Mum, stop it. I said, it is not normal. It's few and far between. What happened before? And we can always say, right, this is why it happened. There's always a logical reason, whether it's because one of them had a tummy ache, something made one of them startle, we've had a busy period, or, they're adjusting. There's always a reason why stress levels were a little bit higher, and then it's fine.
And it's managing it, out of my 3, Murph, I generally can't have visitors with male dogs in the house.
Yeah.
However, I do have a room with a stairgate, and I've got a friend with a male dog who, if we've been for a walk together, he can come in the house as long as he ignores him. If he hasn't, Murphy and Coco go in that room so that they don't have to put him in that situation. Equally, I am aware, and this is where, to your point earlier in terms of life stages can change, I'm aware that Murph has a bad back. I'm aware that he is getting older. I'm aware that he is probably going to be a really grumpy old man dog.
Love him.
But will I
yeah.
have to make allowances for that as we get older? Maybe. Who knows?
Maybe, yeah.
But it is something that, yes, he's only 6, but that I am starting to have in the back of my mind going, I might have to look at different things as we go through, because he's not always going to want to be in that situation that he is happy in. You know, I notice now when we go on holiday, come the 5th day, he goes, I don't want to go out. I need a break. Whereas the other two are like, yeah, come on, let's go.
And that's where sometimes we have to, sometimes we can adjust lifestyle.
Yeah.
We can adjust expectations to meet them where they are. Yeah. Sometimes it's reasonable, sometimes we can do it, sometimes it's hard.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not comparing the feeling I have of Murphy of someone who is in that situation, but it's rehoming. Yeah. What I'm saying is that things can change, and it's just being mindful and aware and go, there will be hard times, and
it's when the hard times start to outweigh the good that you have to then go, right, hang on a minute, let's take a recheck.
Is this right for everybody?
Yeah. Are we progressing onwards? But I say the main thing is, people, you shouldn't feel like rehoming. It shouldn't be a final resort. You shouldn't wait to the very, very end where you've lost your tether. It's fine to make that decision early. It's fine to realise you're not compatible, or the situation isn't sustainable. Equally, it's fine to come to that conclusion after. We've had people come for whole programs of training, train with us for a couple of years, then go, I just can't do it anymore. The next stage of my life is happening and it's not right now. Say, I know, then they have children, then children move out, then they remarry, then work changes, or do you know what I mean? Life changes in whatever way, and where they've been plodding along trying to make change, that next thing just means it's not sustainable anymore. There's nothing wrong with making that decision to rehome,
and you shouldn't be made to feel like it is a bad decision.
No, you should feel supported in the decision you make. And it's good, again, as always, as we talk about in the podcast, it's good to have those people around you that support you and cheerlead you, and are helping you to lead the best life with your dog, not to judge you and to make you feel bad.
And it's okay to feel upset after, if you've come to that decision. It's almost a bit like losing a pet. You will feel different waves of grief, emotion afterwards.
Definitely.
It's okay to feel relieved. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel all of these things. And
because it is a form of loss. It is a form of grief.
But ultimately, you've done it for the right reason for you and for that dog.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, if this is something that affects you, again, reach out. If you've got a support network, if you've got your trainer.
It's like something on the BBC. If you've been affected by tonight's programme, please call.
Yes, basically that. Reach out, But
yeah.
If you have ever rehomed a dog, it doesn't sit right with you, if you are considering rehoming a dog, we're always at the end of the phone. Yeah. If you do know, but we have a pet bereavement counsellor here who is not just for grief in terms of death, but in loss, whatever loss that may be. There are plenty of people there that can support you in your journey.
And there will be no judgment.
Absolutely no judgment. And, it's, again, about finding the right people to help and support you. So don't, if you're ever in this situation, or you've ever been in this situation,
don't do it alone.
Yeah. And know that you made the right decision at the end of the day. Again, as always, share the episode if you think that it could be useful for somebody else. Comment, give us opinions.
Reach out.
If there's a topic you want us to discuss that we haven't discussed before, as you know, there is nothing we won't talk about.
If you disagree with us on a topic.
Totally. Absolutely. We're always up for a healthy debate. We've had them many times on the podcast and off the podcast. Hopefully this episode has been useful. And we will see you guys on our next episode next week.
If you love listening to the podcast, why not check out the Potter Academy for practical dog training advice and how-to videos. The hub is broken down into sections, and hundreds of pre-recorded videos are there for you to start watching whenever you choose. You can watch them back as many times as you like. You also get to talk to other community members and discuss your training, and benefit from live Q&As with myself where you can get your questions answered. why not make use of our 3-day free trial where you can access all of the content on the Hub absolutely free for 3 days. The link is in the description below, so do check that out. And I can't wait to see you in the Hub.
Thank you for listening to The Dynamic Dog Owner with me, Debbie Potter. See you next time.